The Rams have found a hidden gem after yesterday's victory against the Texans, as well as the defense playing really well, some key takeaways, and injury updates on two key offensive linemen before we head into previewing next week's game. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K right now. So if you want to be a part of that journey, make sure to hit that button right now and click the notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content, so you never miss any of that. And leave a like on this video for the Rams getting a Week 1 14-2-9 victory over the Houston Texans. And before we get into the main story of the video, I just want to thank everybody who watched Josh and I on live yesterday during the game. We had some tech difficulties. We missed the first few minutes, but we're gonna get those squared away. So next time we're on a few minutes early, so that we can do a little bit of a pre-game segment as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and comment down below what your favorite part of the stream was, or if you have any ideas for stream segments, because we're open to hearing them. But now to our main story of the video: the Rams finding a hidden gem in the cornerback room. And Avila Witherspoon had an amazing game yesterday covering Nico Collins. We're going to cover that right now. This story from Rams Wire. Avila Witherspoon showed why he could be a valuable cornerback in this league. In his third year with the LA Rams, the 9-year veteran wanted to come out and make a statement on defense, and that he did. After so many questions about this secondary throughout the offseason, the group proved more than ready yesterday. In a game where Texans quarterback CJ Stroud only managed to pass for 188 yards, while also tossing an interception on an incredible play by Landshard Kobe Durant, Witherspoon seemed to be a consistent lockdown at his outside position all day. Yeah, he did. I mean, obviously the Kobe Durant play was absolutely incredible. We talked about it a lot on stream yesterday. I mean, that play was that was an incredible play, barely securing the ball on his body to make sure that really counted as an interception. But that play really changed the tides of the game for this Rams team. And Witherspoon had quite an unsung hero type of game, which we're going to get more into right now. Many thought that star receiver Nico Collins would have his way at SoFi Stadium, but it was the exact opposite on Sunday, thanks to a stellar performance from Los Angeles' secondary, led by Witherspoon on the outside. Collins only managed to haul in 3 catches for 25 yards, an unusually poor line for Collins, after he had at least 75 yards in 9 of his 14 games last year. Yeah, definitely a bit of a down game for him. I know Josh talked about it. Josh has him in fantasy. He kept wanting Nico Collins to get some more catches, without a touchdown, obviously, for his own fantasy team. But yeah, definitely a really off game for him, and both offenses really as a whole. I mean, the Rams offense definitely looked better, but they didn't really get a lot of yards in the red area. They kind of struggled. Once they got in there, they were good, but they struggled to get in there. And yeah, Nico Collins, not the game you would expect from a number 1 wide receiver when you have Christian Kirk, Braxton Berrios, and Tank Dell. Obviously, Tank Dell out for at least 8-9 more weeks with that serious injury. But Christian Kirk and Braxton Berrios both being out as well really should have allowed Nico Collins to have an even bigger game. And I'm surprised the Rams didn't really double him, and Avila Witherspoon didn't really need any help, as you'll see once we continue with this. Witherspoon was the primary assignment on Collins for 51% of his routes, allowing 1 catch for only 4 yards on 3 targets. He managed to turn a Pro Bowl receiver into a complete non-factor in their Week 1 matchup, establishing himself as the Rams' CB1. I mean, we do all know that the Rams did need a CB1 coming into this season. We didn't know who it was going to be, but Avila Witherspoon has really locked down that role for right now. Obviously, it's been 1 game, and the reason why I call this a hidden gem is because I expected Witherspoon to be better than last year, considering the way the Rams defense ended last year as a whole. But he looked awesome in this game. Lining up one-on-one on Nico Collins for 51% of his routes, easily top 6 receiver in the league in Nico Collins. He managed to turn him into a nothing factor. Only 3 targets, meaning CJ Stroud wasn't even trying to target him much. I know the Texans passing game wasn't really on form, but still, only 1 catch on 4 yards and 3 targets. Awesome game from Witherspoon, and he really has leapfrogged his way into that CB1 role. I would fully agree with that right now, because that Rams secondary as a whole really played well throughout that game, and I think that's a key factor to why the Rams were able to hold on for the 14-2-9 victory. In the game overall, Witherspoon only allowed 2 catches for 5 yards on 3 targets, according to Pro Football Focus, so it's not as if he was only locking down Collins. He was great against every receiver across from him. With next week bringing the Rams to Tennessee for a matchup with the Titans, the Rams will then travel to Philadelphia, where Witherspoon will once again have his hands full with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. He shut down both in the playoffs, allowing 2 catches for 12 yards in the divisional round. Yeah, that's another stat to keep in mind. I mean, A.J. Brown, the Eagles shut him down, it seemed like, in week 1. 1.8 fantasy points. That was a rough one. I know fantasy football is not everything, but, I mean, 1.8 fantasy points means he didn't do much on the field anyway. And obviously that's not a case of A.J. Brown's skill. It was a lack of play calling. Wouldn't be surprised if this week, for any A.J. Brown fantasy owners, he's about to go off. They're going to give him the ball this week, trust me. But that's besides the point. 2 catches for 12 yards in the divisional round against the eventual Super Bowl champions for Kyren Witherspoon. Yeah, sign me up for that matchup again. I mean, we know the Eagles are going to come ready, but the Rams are going to come ready as well with Chris Shula. He's going to want to disguise those looks, obviously. And with Tennessee, I mean, Cam Ward, he's a talented quarterback. He didn't look that bad in his debut against probably the best defense in the league in the Denver Broncos this past week. So we'll see how he looks heading into his second game. And for the Rams, it's going to be key for them to stop the run in that one. We'll get more into that as the week goes on. But for Witherspoon, coming off of that big playoff run, 2 positive playoff games, and now an amazing start against another playoff team the last 2 years in the Texans, he looked awesome. 2 catches for 5 yards. I mean, round of applause for that performance. Leave a like on this for that performance. I mean, that is a really unsung hero performance. We didn't talk about it enough on the live stream yesterday, and I wanted to find some stuff we didn't talk about enough on live to do for this post-game video today so that we weren't repeating ourselves. But we got more than enough here with the Kyren Witherspoon. He was absolutely awesome and deserves his flowers because he's a key reason why the Rams were able to win this game. If he can keep his play at the level it was on Sunday, the Rams will have to look no further than their own cornerback room for a CB1. Oh, definitely. I 100% agree with this take. Now, if a Kyren Witherspoon plays like this for the next 3-4 weeks, you're looking at a guy who's on track to be an elite corner throughout the entire season once he gets some weeks of consistent play going. Again, the Rams playing a bit of a lesser team in the Titans than the Texans and Eagles, so you don't want to get too complacent going into that game, looking into a tough road matchup in Philly in a couple weeks. But for Kyren Witherspoon, this is a big game for him and a big game for this secondary as a whole. Really, really playing well and overperforming expectations, and hopefully that can continue throughout the season. Because if they can, the Rams have a legitimate shot to win as long as everyone's healthy. And leave in the comments down below your thoughts on Witherspoon's performance and anyone else who you thought was a bit more of an unsung hero throughout this game. And what are your thoughts on Witherspoon being a potential CB1 for the season? Because right now, it looks like he definitely can be for this Rams team. And now we have some 4 key takeaways to get into from yesterday's game and how they can impact the Rams moving forward throughout this season. And this story is brought to us by Turf Show Times. And we'll head into this one right now. The Rams defense deserves its flowers, number 1. All offseason, the narrative was how bad the Rams defense was. There was the quote from the Athletic's Derek Klassen. This defense still sucks. Like it's not good. It was hyperbolic at the time, and it remains so 3.5 months later. The Rams defense was outstanding on Sunday. They were the primary reason that the game remained manageable in the first half, while the offense was nowhere to be found. It wasn't until less than 2 minutes to go in the first half that the Rams scored their first points. The Kyren Williams touchdown put the Rams in the lead. Yeah, the one thing about that Kyren Williams touchdown, 4th and goal, nice little play there. The one thing about the defense that I do want to see less of is those penalties. Quentin Lake got penalized a lot more than I'd want him to for a player of his caliber. I get it's week 1. You're still adjusting and everything. We had some teams look great like the Colts in week 1. And other teams look not so great like the Lions. So, I mean, you just never know. It's only been 1 game. So, but this defense does deserve its flowers. They're definitely better than what the media thought. I thought the defense had a chance to be a top 10 defense. I ranked them around that 14 range when the season started. They weren't an elite defense coming in, but they certainly didn't still suck, as Derek Klassen says. I mean, my God, watch the tape. I mean, I don't think you watched enough tape in the playoffs and the end of the season because they were amazing to end that season. That's really not great journalism. I don't really want to go too much further into that, but you got to watch your tape. The Rams were the 6th best defense in the NFL in week 1, finishing with an EPA per play of negative 0.145. Their 36.5% success rate allowed ranked 3rd best in the league. And then there's this stat. From 2017 to 2023, the Rams were 0-19 in the regular season when scoring 14 points or less. Since losing to the Arizona Cardinals 41-10 last year, the Rams are 3-0. The Rams have held 5 of their last 7 opponents to under 10 points, and that includes the Seattle game with backups last year. This defense deserves way more credit than it's getting. Yes, it does, and so does Chris Shula. I think Coach Shula is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. He's a guy obviously coming from the Shula coaching tree. You know he's going to come prepared. But he comes prepared, has different stunts every single game. And we're going to forget about that Cardinals game. Did not want to be reminded of that. It's almost been a year later, and I'm still scarred from it. So don't want to be reminded of that one. And I went against Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy that week. Not a fun week for me, but going back to the defense holding opponents to under 10 points. That is so key. You saw the entire defense in lockstep, ready to go. Everyone was playing really well. Nate Landman, Omar Speights, Byron Young especially had a monster game. Jared Verse was getting pressure on the quarterback. Nate Landman, Jalen McCullough made some nice key plays as well. Witherspoon obviously laying sharp with the interception. Really, Quentin Lake was the only kind of weak link in my opinion with those penalties. Don't think that'll keep happening. He's not a guy that gets penalized a lot. But yeah, this Rams defense definitely does not suck. It didn't suck at the end of last year, and it does not suck right now. It's one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL right now, in my opinion. And I think this just woke up the entire league to how great this Rams defense can be. And they're the main reason why we won this game, 14-9 against the Texans in Week 1, and they deserve all the credit in the world. And if this continues, again, that's a Super Bowl caliber defense if they could play this way throughout the entire season. And Cody Schrader got the nod over Jarquez Hunter. There was some speculation this year that the Rams were going to rotate their running backs more than past years. To start the game, Cody Schrader got the nod over Jarquez Hunter, who was inactive. The reasoning here was very clearly that Cody Schrader provides more value on special teams. At the same time, Hunter was drafted for his explosive ability. By not having Hunter available, that part of the run game is taken away completely. This isn't to say that Hunter needs to be a feature part of the offense. The more bothersome personnel decision is Colby Parkinson getting more playing time than Terrence Ferguson. Still, it would be nice to see Hunter at least available on game days. Yeah, I agree. You draft him in the 4th round. I mean, he's not like he's a first-round pick where you have to play him, kind of that you're tied to that guy type of mentality. But still, Jarquez Hunter looked really good in the preseason. He had a good training camp. I'm not saying he should get, 10 carries a game, but at least have him be active so he knows what it's like to be active on game day in case he's called upon. I like Cody Schrader a lot. I think all 4 of those guys should have made the team. Cody Schrader, in my opinion, is way too good to be on the practice squad. But if you practice squad Cody Schrader, it's because you believe in Jarquez Hunter more, would be my hope and my assumption, because you drafted him. You didn't really spend the resources. It was your own pick, so you didn't trade anything. But you did spend the time scouting him, and you decided to draft him. And leaving him inactive, it really doesn't make sense to me, because like this article says here, that explosiveness in the running game is gone. We didn't see Blake Corum do much at all in the running game. Kyren, obviously, this is a great defense. I do think he'll be better against Tennessee. Didn't fumble the ball, which was good. He had a good game holding on to the ball. You saw the Texans were trying to punch the ball out, and it did not work on him. It worked on some other players, but it did not work on Kyren. So good job on him there. But that explosiveness wasn't really there just yet. And I think Jarquez Hunter is a guy for maybe 2 to 3 carries a game can give you that. I get the Texans defense, again, one of the best in the league as well, and so are the Eagles. Although maybe not after this week, but we'll see how Jarquez Hunter gets used. Schrader with the special teams value is fair. I do understand that, but he wasn't even returning punts or kicks. It was Winnington and Xavier Smith, and by the way, both looked pretty good returning punts and kicks, so I don't really understand that one there. And going into the Parkinson over Terrence Ferguson, yeah, I agree. Terrence Ferguson was your first pick in this draft, 2nd round pick, but your first actual draft pick, and he didn't play him at all. I get he had the injury in the preseason. He's going to start off slow. I understand that. But at least put him in the game for a play or two so he's out there. Like, he's just a better option than Colby Parkinson. And by the way, Davis Allen looked awesome out there catching that touchdown. And Tyler Higbee as well, I want to see get some more targets. That's another thing that should be featured more in this offense as a whole. And also, Forbes over Williams at cornerback. Last year, it made sense for the Rams to bring in Darius Williams as a known commodity in the secondary. Heading into this year, it was mildly surprising that they opted to bring him back. That's even more the case as Emmanuel Forbes played over Williams against the Texans and rotated with Kobe Durant. Forbes is someone who the Rams raved about all offseason as a player that had found his confidence. Heading into the season, it seems like he's taken over the CB2 role on defense. Yeah, I think he's kind of rotating with Kobe Durant. I do think Kobe Durant had the better game. Obviously, the interception skews that a little bit, but not just the interception. I think Kobe Durant had a better grasp of the defense overall. Forbes did play well, though. I think Forbes was good. He was making some good tackles. You saw his length in the open field really help out with tackling. But with Darius Williams, was really good when the Rams won the Super Bowl a few years back in 2021. Was okay in Jacksonville, came back and was kind of just okay last year. I don't think you trade him because you need him on the roster. Maybe he'll play more against Tennessee. Maybe he was dealing with a slight injury that we didn't know about, but he wasn't on the injury report. Witherspoon actually was for a little bit, but he ended up being okay and playing, so this is interesting. We'll see how this battle goes throughout the season. And comment down below right now your thoughts on this Emmanuel Forbes over Darius Williams. I think it's okay. As long as Forbes keeps playing well, you got to keep playing the guy who's good. It's kind of like in baseball. You got to keep the hot bat in the lineup, or basketball, you got to keep feeding the guy with the hot hand from the three-point line. So this does make sense to me, keeping Forbes in as long as Forbes keeps playing up to the level that he has been so far. With Darius Williams not playing and not on the injury report, it's fair to wonder where the two sides go from here. The Rams could keep Williams as depth, however, paying $9.2 million for a depth cornerback is a lot. It wouldn't be surprising if at some point the Rams trade Williams in a similar style of deal that they moved Trey White last year. The other side of this is the small risk the Rams took with Forbes seems to have paid off. It's only one game, and it will be interesting to see how Forbes performs when he's tested. With that said, the Rams clearly trust him enough to play him in a primary role. Yeah, they do. They do. And again, he looked good week 1. We'll see. I want to see how it looks more so against Philly. Again, the Tennessee game. Tennessee, I'm sorry, Titans fans, if you're watching this, but you're still in a rebuild, and that's okay. Hopefully in a few years you're good, because I like it when new teams get good. But right now you're just not at a spot where you're competing, so I do think this is going to be a bit of an easier game for the Rams on all facets of the ball. But for this Rams team, Darius Williams what are you going to trade him for? Because then you're down a corner, depth-wise. I mean, you have a guy like Cam Lampkin on the practice squad who was good in the preseason. Maybe you elevate him up. But is he going to be better than what Darius Williams can give you for sure? I don't know. Again, Trey White was a lot worse last year than what Darius Williams was in the preseason and last year. So I don't think you trade him. But comment down below right now your thoughts on this and what they should do about this little conundrum that they're in. Unsung heroes were the difference. After cutdowns, there was a lot of talk about just how deep the Rams roster was. That was even more evident against the Texans. The Rams have all this star power with Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Jared Verse. This isn't to say that those guys didn't make plays as well. At the same time, some of the biggest plays of the afternoon were made by Davis Allen, Xavier Smith, Jalen McCullough, and Ty Davis. Those role players outperforming their role or showing up at big moments are what make Super Bowl teams. It's still early, but it's also a very good sign that anybody on this roster has the ability to make a difference when their number's called. This isn't a Rams team that relies too heavily on its stars. If the Rams need a play, the coaching staff has the confidence anybody can make it. Oh, I definitely agree. Yeah, Xavier Smith looked really good. It was nice to see him getting some routes because he was balling in the preseason. We'd like to see Tutu Atwell do a little more with that $10 million contract. Jalen McCullough looked awesome. He was making tackles all over the field. He brought a lot of pressure on TJ Stroud from his safety blitzes and was able to get a sack even as well. And Ty Davis as well, a guy who's more of a depth piece on the D-line, looked awesome getting that sack. Davis Allen catching a touchdown. Jordan Whittington doing well in the kickoff return game as well. He ran some nice routes. Unfortunately, they got called back due to penalties. Not on him. But he did look good running those routes. And these unsung heroes do make a difference. Comment down below another unsung hero. Josiah Stort's another one who had a key pass breakup on CJ Stroud in the fourth quarter. Looked really good in his NFL debut as well, despite the limited snaps. And now we do have to get into an injury update here. And from Stu Jackson, we have this. Both offensive linemen, Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson, both starting guards, are both week to week with ankle sprains. They have the exact same injury. Sean McVay later said both could possibly practice this week, indicated he'll clarify more on their availability for Sunday at the Titans as they're evaluated over the next couple of days. This is from Rams reporter Stu Jackson. And this is key, because Bo Limmer was good in the fill-in duty that he did. Warren McClendon's probably going to be a guy that you're going to see fill in there as well, because Quisenberry and Humphreys are more so left tackle options for Alaric Jackson, who looked pretty good as well. So both of these starting offensive guards being on the injury report right now is a bit concerning going up against the Titans, who their defense is better than their offense. They did a pretty good job contending the Broncos, so we'll see how this impacts the Rams throughout the week. Comment down below your thoughts on this. Is this something? Nothing or everything? This is something right now. But if this gets to be a few weeks for both of them, this is definitely everything. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K right now, so if you want to be a part of the journey, make sure to hit that button. Click that notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams. Leave a like on this video right now for the Rams taking the Week 1 dub 14-2-9 over the Houston Texans. Comment down below right now your thoughts on Keller Witherspoon being CB1, some other unsung heroes on the Rams defense, and what are your thoughts on the Emmanuel Forbes versus Darius Williams situation? Can the Rams trade Darius Williams? Should they? What should they do? I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day. Enjoy Monday Night Football.